Hi guys, welcome or welcome back again to another video. How are you guys doing? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the UK border control questions that are being asked at the UK border control. Because of all the issues and incidences that are happening, the border control enforcement agents are also mapping up their game. And I'm not doing this video because I'm a border control officer. However, I am somebody who has traveled through border control several times. And when my family was also coming into the UK in December, that's my mom, my dad, my 3 daughters, 5 people, they were thoroughly interrogated. And the very reason why I'm doing this video is because somebody I know has been deported from the UK and has been banned from entering the UK for 10 years. What people do not know is that when you are banned from the UK, it's going to take up to 10 years for you to enter the UK again. So this is something that everybody would want to avoid. Sometimes it's not because you are using illegal documents to immigrate into the UK. However, it is because some questions that were asked did not solicit the responses that they wanted. So it's not because you don't have the right answer, but maybe the mode or the nature in which you answer the questions did not satisfy the border control officer. And you might be wondering what kind of questions are asked at the border control. Person A might be asked a set of questions. Person B might not be asked anything at all. So it depends on who you are meeting. It depends on your purpose of visit. It depends on what you are doing. And it's not only about coming to the UK for the first time. If you are going out of the UK and coming back into the UK, you will definitely go through border control as far as you are not a British citizen. And definitely you are going to be asked questions. Some people are lucky. They might be asked just a couple of questions or just one question and you'll be left to go, depending also on the airport that you are using. However, of late, people are being asked a lot of questions, and I just felt like bringing this video to bringing this information out for you people to know, based on my experience as a traveler who uses the border control, obviously, and based on my family's experience. Listen, when my family was coming, even my 10-year-old daughter, who was then 9 years, was interrogated. She was asked questions as well. So now border control is becoming tough, and I feel like sharing this with you guys. If you're wondering who I am, hi, my name is Becca. I'm a migrant nurse originally from Ghana in West Africa. Listen, I'm proud of where I come from. That is why I keep saying it in every particular video of mine. I practice, I live, and I work in the United Kingdom as a registered nurse. On this channel, basically, I talk about nursing. I do lifestyle vlogs, videos, a little bit of me, fun and positive vibes here and there. And yes, you are welcome or welcome back to my channel. So without much ado, I'm going to be categorizing this video into, if you are coming as a family, that is either as a dependent, as a spouse or whatever. If you are coming as a couple, if you are coming as a child, if you are coming as a student, if you are coming as a skilled worker, some of these questions may interlace. You may find them running all through, the video, because these are common questions. And as I said, this doesn't mean that you are going to be asked every one of these questions. It just means that it's a guide to tell you or to anticipate what you are going to be asked. And let me just say this before I go on. If you did a visa application that was not done by you, kindly take a moment to print out that document, download it or print it out, and master whatever was said in that document. Reason being that whenever you make an application, whatever is stated in that application, whether true or false, that is what holds. That is what is binding. Your truth after that doesn't matter. It doesn't hold. So let's say, for instance, you were not conversant with the application. You gave your details to somebody. The person helped you out but made a mistake with some information. Whatever information, being it a mistake, being it correct, is what holds. If you want to correct that application, you have to cancel the application entirely and reapply. That is the surest way to get correct details into the system. But once that details goes through to UKVI and you have gone for your biometric or your interview, if you are a student, that information is what is binding. So get used to that information and say nothing but that. Yeah. Another thing is that when you're entering the United Kingdom, get all your traveling documents with you, together with you. Don't put them in your main bag or in your luggage bag that will go through the scanning. Let it be in your hand luggage. So your passport, your CAS letter if you're a student, your certificate of sponsorship, your job offer letter, your contract, the job contract, If you are a child, or if you are coming with a child, the child's birth certificate. If you are traveling alone with the child, yeah, and let's say you are the only parent, one parent traveling with the child, a letter from the other parent stating that they have granted their permission to you to take that child or to travel with that child should also be with you. If you're a single parent and you don't have that letter from your other spouse, you need to have the reason why you're traveling that child alone, or maybe your sole ownership certificate that shows that you're the sole parent of that child. You need to have the death certificate of the other parent if they are dead. You need to have a court order if the issue had gone to court and the court has given you that permission as the parent to be with the children. You need that court order to show at the border control, right? If you are coming as a family, yeah, let's say like in my case, let me give my example. So my parents came with my daughters, my 3 daughters. When they got to border control, my dad was in a wheelchair, so he used another route. And let me just state this: if you are traveling as a family, please be firm. Tell them that you do not want to be separated. I think that was our major mistake. So because my dad was in a wheelchair, they gave him that priority access to go through another gate. And then my mom and kids went through another gate, which brought a lot of confusion. So be firm. When my parents were going back, I made sure they were not separated. My mom and dad went through the same gates, and that is peace of mind. I mean, don't allow anybody to separate you. If you're traveling as a group or as a family, be firm and tell them we want to go through the same gates. If it is priority you want us to go through, all of us should go through priority. If you want us to go and queue, all of us should go and queue, so that it stops any further delays at the border control. Now, what they asked my dad specifically is because his surname is different from my kid's surname, obviously, because it's not their dad, and my mom's surname is different, but my mom and dad have the same surname. So they asked my dad, what is your relationship with the woman over there? So they were separated. My dad went to another place, my mom went to another place, and the border control officers were communicating with each other, right? So they asked my dad, what's your relationship with the woman over there? She said, obviously, she's my wife. What's your relationship with the kids? She said, they are my grandkids. How long have you stayed with them? He told them. Where do you live in Ghana? He gave them the address. Where are you going in UK? He gave them an address. And so if you've invited somebody or you are bringing your family over, give them all these bits and pieces of information, okay? If you are the main applicant. So they asked him, who is the sponsor or who is inviting you? He said, my daughter. What work does she do? Where does she stay? Then they went to my mom. They repeated the same set of questions they've asked my dad. And then the border control officers went to communicate with each other to see if the answers were correlating. When they finished, they came to my kids. So they asked the first one, especially the little ones were not really serious questions, but the first one they asked her, who are you going to visit? She said, it's my mom. What work does your mother do? And then she said it, obviously. Whereabouts in UK do you know that your mother lives? She said it because she's a bit older, so she knew all this information. And then they asked her, who are these people to you? This woman and this man, who are they to you? She said, they're my grandparents. How long have you known them? She couldn't really remember that, but they asked her, how long have you been staying with them? She said it, about 3 years. How long has your mother left to the UK? She said that as well. What are you going to do in the UK? We are going to live with our mom. That's what she said. Are you going to come back? And then she said, no, we are not going to come back. We are going to go to school over there. And for my parents, I forgot this, for my parents, because they were on a visit visa, they asked them for a return ticket. A ticket to show that they'll be going back, something to show that they'll be going back. And also for my dad, I forgot, they asked him, how do you fund yourself? My dad is a pensioner, he's 75 years old. He doesn't obviously work, but they wanted to know how he was able to get money to do some of the things he did. In their process, they did some of the things they did, and I supported some way, somehow. So they asked him, how were you able to support yourself, or how are you able to maintain yourself? They just want to be sure that as you're coming to the UK, you're not going to be a liability to whoever you're going to visit or whoever has invited you. So obviously my dad told them how he's been maintaining himself. He's got real estate properties that are on the market that are being rented out to people, and they pay him every month. Some pay every year, and that is how he makes his money, plus on top of his pension pay. So he was able to show them that, and he was able to prove that obviously through his bank statement, and he had those documents. I told them to print everything out and to have them in a file. So they checked all of those. Now, if you're a spouse and you've been invited by your partner, unless your partner came before you, your husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is, you need to have proof of relationship. I remember there was one time I traveled when I was coming back to the UK. There was this lady who was just before me through border control. She was just before me, and then after her was me. They really interrogated her. So she's been married to this guy. They are all Ghanaians, and then the husband has invited her over, and she was really stranded at the airport. They asked her proof of her relationship to show that they are actually, you know, together. So she showed her marriage certificate. She showed pictures of she and the partner, you know, traveling when they were still together. Then they asked her to show WhatsApp messages or communication, proof of communication, something that shows that they have been communicating either through Snapchat, Facebook, whatever. So she showed her WhatsApp message that shows that she and the husband are always in touch, they are always communicating. And I was so shocked. I've never heard this before. They took her phone from her and actually checked every message on the phone between she and the husband, and they checked the husband's contact number on the WhatsApp to show that, to see that it was correlating with the number that she used to apply for the visa as, you know, the husband's number. So that is just that. Be sure that you know the person, the partner, you know the date you married. If you are divorced, the date you divorced, your divorce certificate, you should be able to show that as well. Accommodation, where are you going to live? What is the address of the partner you are going to visit? Yeah, if you are just going to visit that partner, how long are you going to visit? If you are going to stay with the partner, you must show where the accommodation is. Now, if you are coming in as a student, we have what we call the CAS, which is the confirmation of acceptance for studies, which basically shows that the school that you have applied for has given their consent or have given you permission to come to the UK to study. That letter is just like if you're a skilled worker, what we call the course, the certificate of sponsorship. You need to have that CAS letter with you. You need to know why you are coming to the UK to study. Why did you choose the UK of all the countries in the world to study? Yeah. Proof of accommodation. Where do you intend to live whilst you are still studying? Where do you intend to live? Proof of funds. How did you get that money to fund for the education that you are coming to, you know, you are coming to do? Some can even go further to see the bank statement that shows that you have that amount of money inside the bank account to be able to pay for the fees. It varies, as I said. Sometimes you might be lucky, depending on who is there. The person I'm talking about that was deported, that I know, it was coming on a student visa, and it was, I don't know, but it's just so heartbreaking to just get to the border control, and because of one thing or the other that you couldn't justify, you are deported and being banned in the process. So if you're coming on a student, just be careful, and also know that you cannot come with a dependent from January. So if they ask you, do you intend to bring your dependent, and you are answering this question in January, say no, because once you say yes, that is contradictory. So your proof of accommodation, your proof of funds, the reason for your study, the course that you're going to study, the location of the school, why you chose the UK, you should be able to show your CAS, and you should be able to tell them, if they ask you, will you be going back to your country after you finish your study, say yes. Whatever happens after that is entirely your decision. But in the meantime, just say, just say yes. Don't quote me anywhere. If you are coming on a skilled worker visa, I remember there was a time I went on holiday, same when I was coming back. That time I was working in a care home, one of the care homes in London. That was when I was working. They asked me for the postcode of the care home, the full address. I mentioned the full address. They asked me for the postcode. They asked me my job role. They asked me what kind of shift I do over there. They asked me the name of the home, basically the name of the company, the care company that I work with. They asked me my house address, where I live. They asked me how long I've been in the UK. What did I go and do back home? I went back home, basically. So what I went to do back home, you know, at that time. And then yeah, that's that about it. If you're coming on a skilled worker, have your certificate of sponsorship with you, hold it, have the details of your employer going to work with, their address, their name, in fact the name of your line manager. You should be able to tell your salary, your job role there, basic information about that work, why you chose that job, why you are coming to the UK to work. You should be able to tell this, which specialization you are going to work in, which you know, which company, is it the NHS, is it the care home, wherever. You should have these bits and pieces of information with you. Also the salary you're going to be paid, because all this information is going to be on your certificate of sponsorship, so you should be able to answer to them. Also know the accommodation, where you're going to be living, yeah, as a skilled worker, where you're going to be living. If you're traveling as a family, as I said, travel together. Don't let anybody deceive you and say this one should pass here, this one should pass here. It causes a lot of stress and confusion, and you want to avoid that. If somebody did the application for you, I'm stressing on this, because that was my friends, the person I know. This was the problem. Somebody did the application and everything was just a mess. So if somebody did the application for you, get a copy of the application and master whatever is written. If it is true, if it is false, doesn't matter. At that point, that is what is valid and that is what is going to matter. So yes, I think that is the end to this video. I don't know if there is something I've forgotten. I will type them also in the comment section. And I also want to state this, that if you are being delayed or being denied entry at the border control, you can appeal. That doesn't mean that you are being denied or you are being delayed, so that is it. You are given a chance to appeal. I remember a friend of mine invited the mother over but didn't buy a return ticket from the mother. When the mother got to the airport, they rang my friend and asked him, in fact, they asked the mother, what is your return ticket? Obviously, she doesn't really know much. So she gave the number of the son, which is my friend, to the mom. So to the border control. So the border control rang my friend and then they asked him, where is your mother's return ticket? Which she didn't have. So there and then they gave him a chance to buy a return ticket and send it to the mother on the phone, and then the mother showed it to them as proof before they made her enter. So they will give you a chance to appeal if your cause is genuine. If you are asked a question out of the blue and you panic and you are not sure, you give an answer, you should be able to appeal. That is not the end of it. You will not be straight away deported like that. You should be able to appeal and express yourself, and you'll be given time. Worst case scenario, if they are not convinced or something looks sneaky or anything, you can ask to speak to a lawyer. Yeah, you can ask to speak to a legal person to seek advice there and then. If you have a legal person, it doesn't mean that is the end of it. And also have confidence, because sometimes the things they're asking you are things that you know, but because you're in a new environment, you're panicking, you're shaking, you don't even know what to say, and sometimes you fumble. And once you begin to fumble, these people, they like eye contact, like you maintaining eye contact, looking straight in their face and talking to them. That's a sign of confidence, and that's a sign of them knowing that whatever you are saying, you are sure about it. So have that confidence, look straight into their face and answer the questions confidently. And I think you should be fine with this. If I've forgotten anything, as I said, I'll type them in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching, for liking, for constantly coming back to the channel. And until we meet again in my next video, guys, bye-bye. Bye.